to call WLO and I had some telephone traffic, or I wanted to test my radio, or I wanted to get some weather information. And maybe I was in the North Atlantic or the North Sea or the Mediterranean or whatever, and they weren't listening up in that direction. They had their antennas pointed elsewhere. I want to send a DSC call to them to let them know, hey, look at me, I'm out here, you know, give me a holler. So I hit my DSC button. I come over here and I select individual. Okay, now I'm going to select routine. This is not an emergency, it's not a safety or an urgency. Now if this was a safety issue, of course you can select safety, or if it was an urgency or distress, you select that. But if it's just, hey, I got to make a phone call, you select routine and you hit your enter button. Again, select the mmsi number from your memory or type it in manually. But I know WLO's is memory. I select that, and yes, I'm going to give them a channel that I want to come back to them on. In this case, I use 1212. That's my most common channel here in South Florida and the Bahamas and that. But it could be any channel. And I'm going to select 1212. I happen to have it already there. That's the last one I used. But if I didn't, I would put 1212, enter. And now I have to select the frequency to send them this message on. What is my call frequency going to be? Well, I'm going to use 12577.0 for my transmit and receive for my call frequency. And then I select that. And now you'll notice it says routine call to WLO. Traffic frequency is J3E. That's my transmit and receive frequency. The call frequency to them is right there. And I'm ready to go. All I have to do is hit this call button. And now the radio is calling WLO. And it's calling them, telling them, hey, I'm out here. Can you give me a holler on channel 1212? And it's waiting for a response from them, which again should only take a few seconds or so. And there's my response, and it says individual acknowledge WLO able to comply. I'm going to zoom in on that so you can read that easier. And then all I'm going to do is follow the direction here, and I'm going to hit the frequency button, and that takes me automatically to that channel. I had the volume turned down. Now I'll get the volume back up, and now I'm ready to call WLO. Whiskey Lima Oscar, Whiskey Lima Oscar, Whiskey Lima Oscar. This is sailing vessel Annie Laurie, Whiskey Delta Bravo 6927, calling you on 1212. Over.
Whiskey Delta Bravo 6927, Annie Laurie, this is WLO. Go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yes, I'm making another video here. I just wanted to let you know the DSC communications is working good. I got connected to you right here on 1212 just fine. I'd like to make one quick call and just test that. Over.
Roger, go ahead with the number.
Okay, it's a 772. Alrighty, standing by.
WLO, go ahead, your party is online.
Roger. Hello, this is John from the Annie Laurie. How do you hear me up there? Over.
I hear you okay, but there is a lot of background static on this line.
Okay, well, it could very well be a telephone line. Over.
Okay, but I can hear your voice clearly. Over.
Okay. I'll tell you what, Laurie, I'm going to hang up and I'm going to try a different channel on WLO. Over.
And you're calling back to this number again?
Negative.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Out.
Yeah, WLO. Yeah, WLO. I'm just wondering, how are you copying me? Over.
Annie Laurie, stand by one.
Well, I've got you loud and clear. You've got me loud and clear. That's all that's necessary. Thank you very much for helping me out with the videos today. I appreciate that. That is all there is to it. What we've done is done a test call to WLO to test the radio, make sure it works. Then I did a routine call requesting to talk to them on the radio. I've also done a test call to the United States Coast Guard as well. A few other things to remember about calling on DSC. Once you've done this a few times, you'll get. Just for clarifications, it's important to point out that while WLO and KLB radio are set up to monitor these 5 HF-DSC calling frequencies for distress calls and whatnot, the system for automated test calls of the U.S. Coast Guard at 4207.5 is slightly different at Coast Station WLO, where they have set up their automated response system to operate at 8414.5 and 12577 DSC. Again, they can monitor the other DSC frequencies, but just for automated test call purposes only, it's an automated system, operates at 8 and 12 megahertz. It's very important that you take a look at your radio and understand how these functions work properly. Next, I'm going to send a DSC safety call to the United States Coast Guard. I'm going to use 12577. I'm about 850 miles away from them, 850 miles away from them during the daytime. First you do is you hit your DSC button here, brings you into your DSC mode. Press the mode button, and I'm going to, even though I have this all programmed in already, I'm going to start from scratch like you would be doing. I'm just going to say, okay, an individual call, and I'll hit enter for an individual. And I'm going to make this a safety call, so I'm going to select safety and press enter. And now who am I going to send this to? I'm going to send it to the U.S. Coast Guard here. So even if I didn't have, this is their mmsi number here, 00366999999. If I didn't have that set, I would be using manual set and I type it in on the keypad here. But since I already have it programmed in mine, I'm just going to go right here and I'm going to hit enter. And yes, I'm going to ask them to come to a specific frequency to talk to me on. The peculiarity of the ICOM M802 is that you're actually setting the traffic frequency that you want to speak to them on voice. You're setting that before you're setting the DSC frequency. Peculiarity of the radio, don't worry about it, it's just the way it is. So yes, I want to talk to them. J3E is the international designation for single sideband. So yes, I want to talk to them on J3E. A specific frequency, yes. And I'm going to scroll through my frequency, this is my traffic frequency list, to 12290.0. That's the international calling and safety frequency on 12 megahertz. So I'm going to select that. And then I have to select my DSC call frequency. Notice the call frequency here. And I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. And now that I've zoomed in on this, I'm going to go back and I'm just going to show you now with the close-up of here, so you know I was pressing the enter button on the keypad. I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you what I was doing originally from scratch. This is where we started from, pressing my DSC button, my set mode button, and then I'm going to select individual, and I'm going to select safety, and I'm going to set U.S. Coast Guard mmsi number here, and I'm going to enter that. Then I'm going to request that they talk to me on J3E, which is known as single sideband, and I'm going to request that they talk to me on a specific frequency, and I'm going to select safety 12, that's 12 megahertz safety frequency, 12290. Select that. Then I'm going to select the 12577, that's the DSC call frequency. And now it's ready to go. And you notice it says individual call. It's a safety category. It's going to the U.S. Coast Guard. I'm requesting the traffic on J3E, which is single sideband, on 12290.0, transmit and receive. And I'm calling them on 12577.0 kilohertz. All I have to do to proceed with this call is to press the call button. Let me zoom out just a little bit so you see my finger pressing the call button here. And the radio will go into transmit and it will call the U.S. Coast Guard on 12 megahertz. Here we go. And now it's calling. Now it's waiting for a reply. It says waiting for ACK. That means waiting for an acknowledgement. And that can take anywhere from 10 seconds to 2 or 3 minutes, depending on how much traffic is on that channel at the time, depending on how busy they are at the time. Sometimes it just takes 5 or 10 seconds. Sometimes it can take 2 or 3 minutes, but usually it just takes a few seconds. Looks like we've got our reply coming in right now. There we go. And of course you can see it says individual acknowledgement, U.S. Coast Guard. It says able to comply. In order to get to that screen where I want to comply with or talk to them, I want to exit out of this screen, so I'm going to hit my frequency button. Let me zoom out so you can see that a little bit. And I'm going to hit this button right here. Takes me directly to that channel. And now I'm going to call the U.S. Coast Guard on that channel. November Mike November, November Mike November, United States Coast Guard. This is sailing vessel Annie Laurie. Sailing vessel Annie Laurie, Whiskey Delta Bravo 6927, calling you on 12290. Roger, November Mike November, this is sailing vessel Annie Laurie, Alpha November November India Echo, Lima Alpha Uniform Romeo India Echo, call sign Whiskey Delta Bravo 6927, how copy, over?
Sailing vessel Laurie, this is November Mike November, read you loud and clear, over.
Okay.
Sailing vessel Annie Laurie, Roger. We'll contact Senior Chief Bannon and we'll inform him that you could be conducting the videotaping that y'all spoke of last week, over.
Well, just let them know we're doing it right now. So your voice is being recorded. So just let them know we are done. We have completed, over.
Sailing vessel Annie Laurie, I understand and we'll convey that information. I'll copy, over.
Roger, I copy you loud and clear. Yeah, we're tied to the dock and we have lots of interference here from other boats around us, but I copy you 100%. November Mike November, this is sailing vessel Annie Laurie. I have no further traffic with you, over.
Sailing vessel Annie Laurie, this is November Mike November, good copy and all. If nothing further, November Mike November, out.
Roger, sailing vessel Annie Laurie, Whiskey Delta Bravo 6927, clear and out. I'm turning the volume down so I don't have to hear the static. Anybody, if they heard that little warbly noise coming in there, you have to remember I am tied to the dock. I've got other boats here next to me or near me, and sometimes we get some interference from the shore, from other boats, something like that. But that's as clear as it's going to get to and from the Coast Guard there. You'll notice up here at the top of the display, it says traffic, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, make this a little bit easier for you all to read. Traffic is just a generic radio term for any type of message or communication. It could be anything from saying, hey, good morning, how you doing, to, weather information, to position information, to depth information, channel mark. It's a generic radio term, meaning you're talking to somebody or you have some information for somebody. Of course, the frequency, 12290.0, that is the 12 megahertz international calling and safety frequency. And this, again, this is an international channel. It's programmed into your radio permanently.